Relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson. Hello and thank you for watching.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, our sparkling water.
Cheers to sparkling water.
Here's to finally making it to the top of the listener heap.
I mean, this does feel good because we're back in the corner studio, right?
Delicious. Yeah, the big studio.
Yeah, the big studio, as we like to call it.
Yeah.
But it did feel like the first time we were in here, it was just a storeroom down the back.
Yeah.
They have now converted, it looks like a proper studio. We have our art in the background.
Brand new cameras.
Brand new cameras next to the old cameras, cucking the old cameras. Just go and look at us.
We've
replaced you, but you have to stay and watch. You can't film anymore. You can only just watch what is going on, but not record it.
Don't get too excited in the
But we have
old cameras.
yes,
Yeah, we had sparkling water.
Sparkling water in long glasses, not even mason jars, Charlie.
The last time we were in this studio, when they had the generic listener artwork up because they hadn't arranged for our Everyone Relax artwork in, it felt like it was a mob movie where they're like, hey, Charlie and Will, go record in the back studio, the one down the very back, and we'd get in here, and then there'd be just two laser dots would appear on our head, and we'd be out of it.
Yeah, or it felt like one of those American police stings where they send out, you've won a boat.
To catch a predator? Oh.
Yeah.
It's
I
more
didn't
like-
immediately go to catch a predator, but sure. What have you got to confess? Let's get the ratings up for the podcast.
So why are you guys here?
Yeah.
Oh, we're here to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
We have a live chat here. It's like, oh, God. Have you seen the trailer for Prime Time? It's To Catch It. They're doing, Robert Pattinson is playing Chris Hansen. They've done a movie about To Catch a Predator.
Okay.
But I think it's more of it's not just a biopic on Chris Hansen. It's more about like the media's obsession with like sensationalism and stuff. And Robert Pattinson does a bang on Chris Hansen impression. I don't know where Chris Hansen's from, what his particular dialect is, but he has this one line that they really focus on the trailer. It's like, you see how this looks, right? And it's like a spot on Chris Hansen. It's like Robert Pattinson is just evolving into this amazing actor right in front of our eyes.
Well, he's got over 1,000 years of experience. He's been around on this planet for a long time. He's picked up a lot of things.
But don't you reckon there's certain actors? I was thinking about this because Guy Davis and I, we're working on our new video store series about Tom Cruise.
The Video Story is another podcast you can find here in the Everyone Relax feed.
That's right. And it's all about Tom Cruise's biggest swings. So I've been watching a lot of Tom Cruise movies. And sometimes you think like there are leading men who are actually character actors trapped in leading men's bodies, like Christian Bale, for instance. Christian Bale looks like a leading man and has played leading man roles. But in his heart of hearts, he just wants to put on like a rubber nose and weird teeth and act all crazy and stuff like that. And I think that maybe Robert Pattinson is in the same category. Incredibly good looking, obviously has charisma, all this kind of stuff. He's the vampire, he's Batman. But I think what he really wants to do is put on a rubber nose and act weird.
I think that he is an incredible actor. And every time I see him in something, it's almost that thing of, it's so funny to us. I guess it is just Twilight, right?
Yeah.
Twilight is so big in our imaginations.
Yeah.
But he's done one Twilight. Oh, I mean, there's a series of movies, but like one Twilight. One role in Twilight.
Yeah.
And then like
everyone was like, you suck.
12 Oscar-worthy performances, and yet all we can think about is him playing that vampire.
Well, it's interesting too, right? Because it's not just like movies, but so often an artist who goes on to have like an incredible career will start off in pop, or something mainstream. They'll start on Neighbours, or they'll be in a boy band or whatever. And then we all act surprised when they turn out they have higher artistic aspirations and talent. But we are always so quick to dismiss whatever that latest pop sensation is they're all shit outs. But
yeah,
the law of averages should tell us at least 20% of that band or one of those actors from that cast is going to turn out to be very good at their job.
It's rare also that you get to choose your coolest role first.
Yes.
Normally you have to work your way up to that. You get cast because you're young and good looking, and that's why they're going to put you in a show or whatever it is. And then over the years, you develop the chops to be able to become a character actor or do these weirder roles or have the capacity to do that. It is very rare that they let you on first day of set go, you can.
And I think that most, like when you're in an ensemble, like a boy band or like a cast, like I'm sure every time they do a new SNL cast, that maybe it's unspoken, but they're all aware of who the breakout star is going to be. Like, I'm sure when Will Ferrell joined, SNL, people were like, I reckon this guy's, one day going to have a breakout role. Or, In Sync looked at Justin Timberlake and were like, oh, he seems much more talented than. I mean, I know from my own experience, like, working on Big Bite and seeing what Chris Lilly was doing, and like, oh, well, he's doing something different. I reckon he's going to be
Blackface, right? When you say he was doing something different, you mean blackface.
That's right.
Wasn't that different,
He's
actually?
very good at doing, playing other nationalities than his own. No, but you are aware of it, yet there is this kind of temptation, isn't there, that we always want to immediately shut down something that we feel this is disposable. Like, I remember when the Spice Girls were on the cover of Rolling Stone, and this is the late 90s. This is back before the internet was a really big thing. But I remember the outrage that why are you putting the Spice Girls on the cover of Rolling Stone? And it's like, well, potentially one of them could break out to be, incredibly talented and a massive star. In that instance, it turned out not to be that true. But
I would argue, I mean, they've all...
But their cultural influence.
All remained relevant in a cultural influence sense, although, to varying degrees. They've all had a big connection with Australia, which is interesting. Mel C just married an Aussie.
Well, yeah, some people need to pay reverse alimony or something. Isn't that what's going on? Not Mel, so Mel B.
Mel B.
I think Mel B ran up some debts because of an ex-husband.
Oh, yeah, that was, So, but Mel B spent some time in Australia as well on, like, The Masked Singer and some other shows, right?
Yeah, it's pretty interchangeable. I wouldn't know. But, yeah, it felt like there was always a Spice Girl here doing something.
I remember Dave Hughes was on The Masked Singer with Mel B.
What's he been up to lately?
I don't know. I don't know what happened to him, actually, after The Masked Singer. The media refused to cover him, Charlie.
Not only that.
When will somebody write an article about Dave Hughes? When will somebody get Dave Hughes? I had Dave Hughes on Willosophy. People can listen to it. It's in the feed in January. And it is quite a sensible, lovely conversation about everything being zen and nothing really matters. And I don't think he's done anything since then.
Well, now the good news is now you can get Dave Thornton on to be Dave Hughes.
I did see Thorno at a party on Saturday night, and you go, we were when a group of comedians are together, the topic of Hughesy will come up at the moment.
Of course.
And Thorno just went, I feel so conflicted because it's so good for me.
Oh, it's so good. Like, he's been posting his numbers. Like, he's getting over 1 million views on social media when he does. Like, almost to the point where it's surpassing his regular posts. And it's like, at that point, you're like, do I go to the Chopper direction? Where I'm just Chopper now. I'm just going to tour as Chopper. Do I just tour as Hughesy?
Like the Australian Dave Hughes show.
Yeah. I mean, he could do it. People seem to like it.
I mean, his name's already Dave.
So it's a change. What are you saying? Changing the post is going to be too hard?
Dave, maybe he changes his name to Dave Thornton Hughes.
Dave Thornton Hughes.
Right? So he keeps Dave Thornton, but adds Hughes on the end. Thornton becomes kind of a middle name. So he's also Dave Hughes, but he's Dave Thornton Hughes.
DT Hughes.
Yeah.
DT Hughes.
I actually don't mind that.
That's good.
There is a David Hughes who was a comedian out of Western Australia.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, still is.
Yeah,
still is.
Rest in peace, David Hughes. He's not dead, Charlie. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I reckon his DMs would have been different in the last 6 months or a year, because I bet over the years he's had, because he's also a comedian and his name is David Hughes. Like, over the years, he must have been mistaken for Hughesy a whole bunch of times. But I imagine he'd be a good person to be able to judge how things have changed by what mistaken messages or emails, etc., that he's been sent in this time.
Yeah. Do you think that at any point he was tempted to kind of like lean into the name recognition? Like, because it would have been perfect if he had a Dave Hughes impression up his sleeve that he could have busted out like Dave Thornton, because then he totally would be able to live off that. And there would be a lot of crossover. Does he look anything like Dave Hughes?
No.
Okay.
He's British.
Okay. All right. All right, Gov. Dan Andrews ruined the state, Gov.
I mean, British Dave Hughes is a good character.
Is that Tommy Robinson?
Cockney Hughesy.
We already have that.
What's up, Gov? These snakes are all dead.
I'm angry, Gov.
Call blimey, Elmo.
I'm back from Canada, Will.
Yeah, from Montreal, right?
Montreal. Now, you went to Montreal last year, right?
I believe.
Or is it
this is what I was last year. Yeah.
This last
so
year, yeah.
this is what I was told last year. May or may not be true, but it is what I was told. That I am the Australian comedian who has visited the Montreal Just for Laughs Festival the most. Now, for little or no impact is what I would describe. I'm one of those people, much like we have here, who seems to come out to the festival every year and no one really ever gives a shit about the fact that they are there.
How many times have you done it?
I think like 8 or 9 times.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I've been to Montreal a lot and I love that city. But last time when I was there, it was the only time that I took 4 days, 5 days after the festival to really explore
the town,
the town. And I love Montreal. How did you find it?
I loved it. It's funny, Dave was meant to play when I was there, and because Jen was like, "Oh, the Just for Laughs is happening. Maybe we should go see a comedian." It's like, "Well, Dave Hughes is playing." Oh, no, he's not.
I mean, he was. He did make it over there.
He did make it in the end. Yeah, right. Got his passport.
Yeah, he got his.
What's the Etsy or whatever? Not Etsy. It's the whatever the waiver is. You've got to fill out.
Well, and a lot of people because people want to come after Hughesy at the moment. A lot of people had a go at him a lot about that, as if he was the biggest idiot in the world. But
I would not have filled out unless my wife had told me I had to fill it out.
Well, last year I flew into Canada without going through to America, so I didn't need it. But then on the way back, got a different flight and flew through America, not thinking, oh yeah, of course it'll be different on the way back. And I ended up doing it at the airport, and it was all fine. But for a second, I had that same thing because it doesn't. People were like, "Oh, well, someone would have told you." No one told me. No one tells you anything.
And because you don't go through, we didn't go through a travel agent or anything like that. You just booked the tickets yourself. I really loved it, but this is how ignorant I am of the world. I knew that it was a bilingual city, but I didn't realize. Well, it's bilingual in the sense that they speak English and French, but it's mainly French.
French first.
So when I arrived and all the signs were in French. And I'm like, oh, I've got to get like a shuttle bus to our hotel and I can't read any of these signs. I don't know what's going on. And then, oh boy, that kind of year 10, my grasp of French. Je m'appelle Charlie. Je suis Australien. Cousy, trying to find my way. And the guy's like, I speak English. Oh, great. Thank God. Because I don't know what I'm doing. But Fantasia was the festival we're headed over for. So Fantasia is the largest. Oh, I should backtrack a bit. So Gemma and I,
before we get to the festival,
yeah,
did you go to any of the legal weed shops?
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't it fascinating what they look like and the way that they? Don't you think? It was
are they different to Australian ones, or I didn't notice a particularly big difference? Maybe it's the one I went to.
Maybe because like in Montreal, it's all very plain packaging.
You know what it? You know what it reminded me of is John Wick. When he goes to see like a tailor and they're like, Mr. Wick, would you prefer because it's quite elegant and everything sort of like, very neat and clean inside the store.
Yeah, there's none of this fancy show busy, like we put weed in caramel popcorn.
No, and no advertising.
Brands. No. It's all plain packaging.
Discreet. Yes.
Discreet. Drawers full of things that you can't tell apart from each other than the menu that you have and whatever it might be. I found that very fascinating.
Yeah. I mean,
take the marketing out of it and just make it very clinical.
I'm comparing it to sort of my dispensary I go to in Australia, and that's a bit more. That feels more like you're going to like a private health place or something like that. They do have advertising and branding and stuff. Or MedMen in LA, which has lots of advertising and, like you say, lollies.
Yeah.
Lollies on display.
That's right. It's just like, hey, Snoop Dogg came up with this one. Try it. In Canada, they're a bit more like, we've trusted some doctors, I reckon.
But so the reason we're there, so Gemma and I have been working on our feature film. So we had development funding from Screen Australia and Screen New South Wales. And one of the criteria of Screen New South Wales funding is they gave us money to make a proof of concept, which essentially is you can make anything. They give you an amount of money. You can make a short film, or you can just make a sequence from your film or a scene or whatever, something that you can show to potential investors and financiers just to help you sell your film. So last year we decided to make a short that is kind of like a condensed version of our feature film. So it has a beginning, middle, and end. Because we thought, well, if we're going to go to all this trouble to make something, we at least want to have something we can send to festivals and just,
Yeah. What if it was like this, but like longer?
But yeah, exactly. And it was actually good in terms of like the creative process, because we went through this very big development phase where we brought on this producer, and this producer recommended we were with a script consultant, and we did a lot of, for me, when it comes to sort of writing, I'm very meat and potatoes, very practical. I like to work on plot and story and blah blah blah. But this producer was like, I think we can dig a bit deeper into the subtext of what your story's about, and I want you to work a bit harder. And so we hired a couple of actors in a rehearsal space for about 3 days, and it was very drama school. And I'm not saying that to denigrate it, but just in terms of experimental, where we didn't even really dig into the text of what I'd written. It was more about, what are you trying to say here? What's the deeper subtext? And getting the actors to kind of like move instinctively. And it was awesome. But I came out of that 3-day workshop going like, I've got 3 days of notes and video, but I have no idea how I'm meant to integrate that into the next draft of the script. And I was freaking out for a bit because I had to deliver a new draft of the script to Screen Australia. But I'm like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I've got this really heady, esoteric, creative stuff, and I've got my very plot-driven version of the script here. How do I marry the two? And Gemma's advice, which turned out to be great, was like, well, just don't stress out. Like, just let that percolate for a bit, and instead concentrate on the short, which is something much more manageable. And it was great advice, because the simple act of just having to concentrate on the shorter version of the film, it helped me sort of streamline the idea, because you start to go, well, what essentially is this, and what's it about, and what's the feeling I want people to have, and what am I trying to say? So yes. I probably wrote like 15 versions of the short, and then finally hit upon the version that everyone was happy with. So we went away and shot that in like 2 days. It was ridiculously ambitious for what we were trying to do, but we shot it, and then entered it into a bunch of like big festivals, and because it's drama, but it's drama with a sci-fi twist. And the problem when you do mixed genres like that is you're too genre for kind of the serious festivals, and you're not quite genre enough for the genre festivals. We're somewhere in between. So we didn't get into like Sundance or Cannes or the big festivals, but then we started going to sort of like the smaller or more niche festivals. And Fantasia is like a big genre festival. And so I didn't know much about it, but I know it's been running for like, 30 something years.
Okay.
They've had like big directors come there, like Guillermo del Toro and Sam Raimi and all these big kind of genres.
And how many days is the festival?
It's massive. It goes for like a month.
Oh, so it's a month-long festival.
And they show feature films
Big
and short
summer
films.
arts time in Montreal, by the way.
Right.
That's why. So people probably get this because of, they understand how seasons work. But because we don't have that sort of, we do have summer festivals in Australia as well.
Yes.
Perth Fringe is in summer. Sydney has a summer Fringe festival. But often we think about arts festivals as being winter activities.
That's right.
This is very much, they love over there because it's so cold in the winter and you can't do anything. The sun comes out in the summer, they get out on the streets, they start to have festivals.
Having said that, though, this was very much an indoors festival, and like it was not particularly hot, even though it was summer. It was probably like a mild, it felt like maybe a Sydney winter or a Brisbane winter, but. So it's feature films, it's short films, and then obviously a whole bunch of like talks and Q&As. But they also do a film market. So in conjunction with Fantasia, they do this thing called Frontiers, where certain projects are selected to then go to market. So then you meet with sales agents and financiers. So we were one of like 4 projects selected to then go to market. So. So
this is before you went there?
This is before.
Yeah, this is why you've gone.
This
because
is why
you are.
Yeah. So and Screen Australia, like because there is a film market attached, they're fully supportive. So they helped us get over there, and they kind of operate almost like agents in a way, where you say we're going to meet with these people, and they say they're good, meet with them, don't meet with them, that kind of stuff. So they sort of help guide you.
Okay.
There's a certain approved list of what sales agents, because in order to get your funding, you have to have certain market attachments in place. So we get there, and what I love, and I'd forgotten this feeling about going to a festival, because now I live semi-rurally. I don't get to go to Sydney Film Festival or Melbourne as much as I used to. But the idea of being at a festival, and especially a genre festival, so most of the films are horror, fantasy, or sci-fi. So they're real niche and they're real weird. And the majority of the films that are playing there over the month, they're never going to get a wide release. So you are literally going in to see something on a big screen that will never be seen on a big screen again. You know, we've been talking about how people are desperate for that unique experience. Like we've been so overwhelmed with sort of digital interaction and digital experiences that people are just craving an experience that feels communal and unique. Well, that's what it was. So for the first 3 days, because our film didn't screen for the first few days, I was just going to see films based on nothing more than the poster, or maybe I'd recognize like the name of an actor or a director in the guide, but I was going in blind. And I saw some of the weirdest, most fucked up, but fascinating kind of stuff. And I just was loving it. And I was like, oh my God, this reminds me of when I used to work in the video store. And I'd finish a shift and I'd walk down the aisle and I'd just see the cover of something. And I thought, that's a cool poster. I'll grab that. Or I recognize that name. I'll just grab that. And I would sit and watch it without my phone in my hand. And you just absorb something that you have no idea what it is. And some were good and some were bad and some were whatever. But that wasn't the point. And not only that, but then having that shared experience, being in a packed audience and feeling the reaction of people where this film goes into sort of weird directions or directions you're not expecting. And then going to a bar afterwards or having discussions with people, like the whole thing was just like, oh man, like I'd forgotten. I don't know if it was like a combination of COVID and moving to the country, but just that experience of being, it's something that felt alive and exciting and communal was so great. Like it was wonderful.
Well, I want to hear more, like honestly more about it, but just a little side note
Yes.
for a second, which is, I agree. Like, I mean, so I just finished my, improv tour, 138 different shows I did over the 18 months I was on that tour. And none of them are filmed. None of them will ever be seen again. Each of them was just for that night. And it's the thing I am most proud of anything that I've ever done in my entire career. I loved it. And it's gone and it doesn't exist anymore, but it also was what it was. But it doesn't have to be even a big piece of work for that to be the case. This was vaguely connected to work. On Saturday night, I went to Claire Hooper's. She had a little thing for her birthday. She's not a birthday person. Her whole show this year at the Comedy Festival.
She has no birthday. She just appeared.
Yeah, that's right.
One
She's
day.
0 years old. She's never had a
Fully
birthday.
formed.
Yeah. She's not a party person. Her show this year was called Fun Show, and it was all about how she's not actually a fun person. And in it, she talked about seeing these 9-year-olds, this band of 9-year-olds play that had 3 keyboards, and they were called Nuclear Donuts, and this whole story was in the thing. Anyway, she ended up booking this 9-year-old's band for her birthday. They did a gig half an hour at this thing.
Nuclear Donuts.
Nuclear Donuts.
That's so great.
They do a little song at the start, Nuclear Donuts, about them being nuclear donuts. It's mostly covers after that.
Yeah, right.
But there's a song about like we're nuclear donuts. And it was so good to be in a room. There was 40 or 50 people at this party watching this gig, and it was magnificent. It was as good as, it was better than anything that I've seen online or like on my screen for so long, because we were all in a room experiencing a thing, and you get to experience all of it. They sang, one of the covers they did was, they did Billie Jean, which I thought was still an interesting choice.
Especially for under 9s.
Or Beat It. Anyway, Michael Jackson of some kind they did. Yeah. But the one that really got me was, there was a Billie Eilish that had some innuendo that they weren't aware of that they were singing. But they did Backstreet's Back. And it's got that, am I original?
Yeah, am I sexual?
Yeah, okay. So I think that one of the 3 beats of Backstreet's Back, it is, am I
original?
That's one.
Yeah.
Am
I the only one?
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then
am I sexual?
Yeah, right. So this is how the girl who was singing in Nuclear Donuts was doing it. Was like, am I original?
Yeah.
And then a microphone to the audience.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, yeah. Right? And then
am I original?
Second line, am I the only one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a collective intake of breath and nerves as everybody realized what was about to happen. And then when she sang the lyrics, am I beautiful? And we all, I've never heard a bigger yeah in a room. Even when the Bulldogs won the 2016 grand final, there was not a roar that as big as the roar of relief and yeah from the entire audience.
You and Danny McGinley crying again.
Because it was that moment of everybody in the room going, if she sings Am I Sexual, can I go in with
No.
the yeah?
No.
Do I need to go silent, which is going to be tough for this kid who's like singing this song, and then the entire room to go, am I sexual? And everyone's just like, absolutely.
Imagine
not.
if you're the only guy to say, yeah!
Yeah! And then everyone's like, we got you.
Yeah.
And then Robert
Hi, I'm Chris
Pattinson comes
Hansen.
in.
Take a seat. You see how this looks, right?
Yeah,
it's
okay.
great.
So, what did you see anything in particular at this festival that you genuinely love?
Okay. So this is the interesting thing, right? This is because a lot of the this is a festival for people outsiders, right? Like this is a festival not for your mainstream. It's very, very niche. So everyone in there is incredibly like horror literate, sci-fi literate, like real nerdy Comic-Con sort of type stuff. So what I noticed, the opening night film was a film called Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, which is
I've heard about this.
Gillian Anderson and the girl from Hacks. I can't remember.
Hannah Einbinder.
Hannah Einbinder, is in it. And it's really great. And so it's a kind of postmodern take on the slasher movie, right? And the director is a trans woman, and so the perspective of the film is reinterpreted through that lens. And this is a trend I've been noticing in horror a bit now. So we talked about the film Leviticus a couple of months ago, made by a queer man, and he talked about how growing up, and feeling like an outsider, he was drawn to horror films because they're the stories of outsiders. Similar story with Camp Miasma, because they did a Q&A afterwards. Like a lot of horror films from the 80s, especially the slasher genre, are pretty kind of like transphobic, homophobic, all this kind of stuff. So what this director wanted to do was reclaim horror for her community. And so it's very much a queer-focused horror film where the all the tropes we know of 80s horror films are basically reinterpreted or explained or explored with a bit more of a kind of investigative lens. Like it's not just it's shocking and has all the tropes you'd expect of a horror film. There's gore and this kind of stuff, but there is a deeper subtext going on to that film. And then I noticed that there was at least 2 or 3 films I saw were all made by people from marginalized communities, but horror films. And I was like, oh, there is something happening here where these films are now, I think this is where the genre is going, because horror does tend to reinvent itself like most genres to reflect kind of where society has moved. And I think that this is where the big push is coming from, is like there was this kind of version of these horror films that were particularly playing to a very mainstream, heterosexual or heteronormative audience. But that's been played out now. And I think, and I am like...
And not just even heteronormative, but also... it was inbuilt into the idea that there was like an element of slut shaming and etc.
Yes.
Like the people.
Well, this is
sexually...
horrific. People being different is the horror.
That's
it's
right.
Like something that is away from what is considered normal is the horror. Whereas it's like, no. This is part of the mainstream. And so I was like, oh, and they're all. And the other thing too is they're all quite meta. So a bit different to the way the Scream movies are meta. They're sort of, there's like an extra layer of meta. And video store culture, there was 3 films I saw which were all about characters who loved movies, and there was video stores for some, like in these fantasy worlds, people still worked at video stores, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. There's some kind of nostalgia for that period of time where people would go into video stores and look at films and look. The same experience I was describing is that.
Well, also I think part of it is this idea that we're getting more and more aware of the idea that you don't own your media anymore.
Yes.
Like we've kind of been aware of this for a while, but it feels like it's going into more mainstream consciousness now, which is that the companies that you sign up to these streaming services or etc. can just remove this content at any time. Even it turns out content that you thought you had paid for to own, they can just delete it.
Yeah.
And it's in the terms and conditions that they can do that. And then you have these companies like your Spotify's and whatever of the world that now. Did you hear this new thing they're doing with podcasts where they're going to put in you can basically pay a premium on Spotify to listen to your podcast without ads. So basically, for
That thing that
independent
you were already
producers, they
subscribing.
are ripping out the thing that people are getting money from and then charging their users a premium. So Spotify will get the money rather than the people who are actually making the content. So,
Awesome.
so the idea that you could just at least walk into a place, hold a thing in your hands, know that you can. I think people. In the same way as there was a return and love for physical media when it comes to albums and stuff, I do think that there's this affection again for people going, oh, if I buy a book or if I, go into a video store, this is physical media that I can see and that I can own, but also that I can concentrate on.
Yes.
It is, once you make a choice, you are more committed to the choice.
Yes.
That you are not going to be stuck in the infinite scroll world.
I also think too, there is an element of the community aspect of it's like a barbershop, right? Like the video store is a place to hang out with other like-minded people who are movie nerds who want to talk about their favorite films. Like both Camp Miasma and there's another film by an Aussie director called This Effed Up World, which was shot in 12 days in Melbourne. And it's kind of funny too, because I watched this film and I'm like, oh, okay. It's shot in Australia and all the supporting cast are Australian and all the locations are Melbourne. It's shot in West Melbourne or something. But the 3 lead actors are all American girls. And I was watching it going, okay, well, surely they're going to have one scene where they explain why everyone else is Australian, but the 3 leads are American. They never do. They don't, it's just I know, right? I did the thing that you're doing with your head. That was me the whole film. I'm like, are they going to explain? Scott Major is playing the dad of one of the girls. Yeah. I'm like, oh, there'll be a scene where he'll be like, when I met your mum in California and we moved out to Australia, but no, they don't explain it. And they don't explain why her best friend is also American and her parents are Australian. And so I met the director, Alice, afterwards, and I was chatting to her.
He said, what's with the accents?
Oh, no, a vein was about to pop in my head because she directed, she's only in her early 20s, right? And this is her 3rd feature film. Here I am, almost 50, trying to make my first, and she's made 3 feature films, micro budget, but still is out there making it. And I was talking to her, and what I got from it, she said, I grew up loving, movies like Clerks and Buffy, shows like Buffy, or just hangout films. And that's what I want to make is films where, and so what I realized is it's actually unimportant. The film is it's about I don't actually even know what happens. There's aliens or there's some kind of supernatural thing happening in it. But that is not the point. The point is not the logic of how things tie together. It is, hey, do you want to hang out with these characters as they talk shit and fight monsters or whatever it is? And that, because at one point I was getting frustrated watching and going why aren't they? I'm an old white man and I want you to explain why you're not explaining things to me. But then I was like, maybe this is not made for me. Maybe this is not an important question to answer. This is the filmmaker saying, no, this is not about that. This is about a vibe. It's about the marbo of it all. It's about a hangout film. I don't
see, daughter, the reason that you have an American accent is we thought this might play better worldwide with a couple of American leads.
That is it. So there is this community of queer and trans filmmakers who all help each other out. So they were when Alice was making the film, she needed some actors who were going to help her get a wide release. So reached out to one of her friends who said, "Oh, well, I know this actress," and sent her. She came to Melbourne for 12 days. Oh, that sounds like a holiday and hang out. And so that is the kind of vibe. So it's almost going back to that kind of Corman era where there are these experimental, low budget filmmakers where it's not really about, no one's making Oscar winning films. It's just about making stuff for your audience. So I came out of it really inspired. We also had to do a live pitch of our film. So because we were one of these films selected to go to market, they had a live pitch day. So there was 12 projects. So
by the way, in this way of describing what it is that they are doing and where these films fit into the overall, this is just us. This is our podcast. Like, we are that.
We're niche.
Yeah, we're not. Like, we
Yeah.
have a incredibly...
Why don't they ever talk about anything, those two guys?
Right? We're a hangout podcast. It's just about whether you want to hang out with us.
That's
There
true.
is no plot. It is low budget. This is the type of entertainment that we make.
It is low budget. We say in this premium studio with brand new cameras.
Yes.
2 producers.
But then they didn't buy these cameras for us.
That's
They
true.
bought these cameras for Hannah Ferguson and Hamish and Andy.
Yeah.
We just get to use the cameras while...
We hang out.
Yeah.
That's true, actually. You're right.
We've just borrowed the cameras from the big production studio.
So do you want to hang out with Will and Charlie?
Yeah.
That is maybe that's the question that we put out.
Oh, no, that is the question.
Do
And
you? No, maybe we don't
a
want to give them
loyal
the
amount
option.
of people have said yes, but not a really widespread amount of people.
So there's this live pitch day, right? So that was before the market. So you have 3 days set aside where you can have meetings. And so there's a live pitch day, and leading up to the pitch day, some people could elect to meet with you. But the idea of the pitch day is off the back of your pitch, your dance card fills up with people like, oh, I like the sound of that project. I'd like to meet these filmmakers.
Okay, so how long is the pitch?
So you're given 8 minutes.
And how many people are pitching in this pitch?
I think there was 12 projects over the
Okay.
course of a day.
And where are you and are people sitting in the audience
Yeah,
to watch
so
this
it's a
thing for the
packed
whole-
cinema. So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, maybe 400 people in the
Okay.
cinema. And it's
Uh-huh.
filled with mostly industry professionals, but also people who've got a festival pass. So you can, there were some people up there who were like technicians. So like a composer might get up and pitch themselves as a composer. Hey, this is some work I've done. This is my philosophy when it comes to composing. I'd love to meet with you afterwards or whatever. But majority of the projects were filmmakers who had projects that were either early development or script ready, or we're at the point where we're like, hey, we're pretty much ready to go. The script's ready to go. We've got our package. We've got our cast. We just want to meet with financiers and sales agents. That was our kind of thing. But we weren't given a heap of information. Like we had a mentor leading into the pitch day, and she was giving us as much info as possible. But what she was saying, it wasn't exactly helpful. She was like, well, you can do whatever you want. It's like, yeah, but what should we do? No, you can do whatever you want. People do lots of different things. Some people do elaborate PowerPoint presentations, other people. So what we decided to do was, because we had the short film, that's an advantage. We could just cut a trailer from our short to say, hey, this is what the feature will be about. And then you sort of get up and present. So, because our film is it's essentially like a love story, but it's a story about love and loss and grief with this sort of sci-fi element. So it's quite it's a mature, elevated sci-fi is how I would describe it. It's not like a sensational kind of like, typical sort of what you'd see at Fantasia. So I'd sort of worked out that, we'd practice the pitch so I would get up and present the creative side where I'd say, hey, this is who I am. This is my life experience. That inspired me to write this story. Here's the trailer. Then Jen would get up and she would do all the nuts and bolts.
Hi, I'm Charlie Clausen. I actually do a podcast with Will Anderson, who's visited the Montreal Comedy Festival the most.
8
You've
times.
probably never heard of him.
You heard of him? No. He thinks your weed stores are elegant and mysterious. So I'm sitting in the audience. We're programmed to get up and pitch about halfway through the day, which I thought was good because you're not sort of right at the start when people are arriving, and you're not at the end when people are exhausted. I thought it was a good slot. But then everyone gets up and starts pitching, and I should have known. Like Montreal, home of comedy, like improv city, second city. Like some of these pitches were like sketches, like
funny.
Yeah, and because it's horror, and horror has a very close ties to comedy, a lot of people are getting up and pitching like really funny, in your face, and then the head gets cut off, and the priest blah blah blah, and the whole audience is roaring with laughter, and I'm like, fucking hell! I have to get up there and talk about my elevated, mature, sci-fi project with echoes of Jeff Nichols and blah blah.
You should have gone out there and gone, everyone relax.
And like some of the pitches were so fucking out there. There were some trends though. It was very interesting. Like there was at least 3 or 4 horrors that were pitched that was sort of variations on the substance, you know, the idea of like the beauty industry and beauty standards for women and blah, blah, blah. That was a hot topic. Then the other big genre seemed to be like weddings. There was like a lot of horror films set around weddings or wedding parties, either done in a more serious, like a Get Out type of thing. It's like people arrive for a wedding, but then, you know, they work out something sinister is happening. Or it's like more just sort of like Shaun of the Dead, farce, you know, it's a zombie wedding or blah, 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 blah. These one guy's got up and pitched a Humpty Dumpty feature film. Do you remember we did an episode about a gritty reboot of Humpty Dumpty? It was pretty much a reboot of Humpty Dumpty, but done with comedy. It was more of like a Zucker Brothers style Humpty Dumpty thing. It was so fucking out there that I'm like...
It would be great for us to just tour the world of these festival pitches, pitching all the movie ideas that we've come up with on TOFOP over the years.
Well, the problem is you have to get selected, so I don't know. Although Humpty Dumpty got selected, so maybe. So then we get up to do, or I get up to do my pitch. And like the problem when you're pitching something like a drama, like when you're pitching horror or comedy, you're going to get a reaction. So you can gauge from what you're saying, oh, this is landing, or people are liking that, or you can, you know, throw a pause in there to draw out the laugh or whatever it is. But when you're getting up and telling a sad story about sad things, you're like, oh my God, is this like totally bumming people out? But I think it went well. And to be honest, I think that became our point of difference.
Yes, that's right. It's a change of pace. It makes you distinct from everybody
Everyone
else.
remembered our pitch because we were the sad pitch.
Yeah. Well, you were the one. Oh, remember, you were the people that didn't get any laughs.
Yeah, that's right. So then the next 3 days was just back-to-back meetings.
So how does that then work?
Okay.
How do they contact you? How does that?
So there's there's an app, right? So you sign up for the app, and then there's like basically the meeting agenda, and so people have your details. So prior to the festival, everyone has our pitch deck, access to the team, the package, so they know as much information about the film as possible, and then also the pitch. So based on that, they then go to the agenda and go, I'd like to meet with this team here. And so pretty much after the pitch, our dance card filled up. So we had back-to-back meetings for the next 3 days. And like, you know, with some big companies like Netflix and Lionsgate and all that kind of stuff, and then sort of more nichey, you know, more genre-specific ones like Alamo Drafthouse and things like that. Only one meeting, like most, so you got 20 minutes basically. And so in that 20 minutes, you basically, most people had been there for the pitch, so you don't have to recap it. Yeah. Some people wanted to see the trailer again, but it's more nuts and bolts. You're saying, hey, we have these elements in place. This is what we're looking for. You know, do you have room on your slate for that? Are you interested in this kind of film? And I'd say that 90% of the meetings, or probably more, everyone was like, yeah, we're really interested. Send us the script, send us the package. We'll talk further. One person, this woman sat down and she was like, I don't get it. And I'm like, I'm sorry? And she's like, I don't get what your film's about. And I said, well, it's kind of like a time travel film. And she's like, yeah, but why do I care? And I said, well, it's a love story. And she's like, yeah, but why do I care about it? I'm like, well, I can't do that. I can't explain.
You don't care about love?
No.
That's about you, mate.
Yeah.
This is not for you.
It was so weird. I said, have you ever lost anyone? And she was like, no. I'm like, okay. Well, maybe that's the issue.
How old are you, by the way? If you've never lost anybody.
But also, why take the meeting? Like, it clearly did
Well,
not...
that was why. She was like, I don't get it. I need to have a meeting with these people. How did you get here? Everyone else was so funny. Humpty Dumpty. That's a good idea.
Yeah, Humpty Dumpty guys. Come over and tell these guys how to pitch a film.
Have a good idea like Humpty Dumpty gritty reboot. Why can't you have that idea?
It was a very, like, normally the 20 minutes goes quite fast and you're like, oh shit, I wish I had more time. We got to like the 6-minute mark and I'm like, oh fuck, what are we going to talk about for the next 4 days? So, and what films have you sold recently? What have you done recently?
I remember when I was in LA, and I think I can probably tell this story now because it's so far removed from when it happened, but I went and met with, I think Hugh Jackman had a production company, don't know if he still does or not, but I went and met with them at some stage, and they didn't have like anything in particular that they were looking at. So I ended up having a conversation with like the person who was working for Hugh, you know, for his production company for half an hour while I explained how I would have fixed the movie Swordfish. And she loved it. She was like, "Tell me more," and kept like asking me more. And I'm like, "What are we doing here? Like,
Are you going to go back and
I've
reboot?
come into like you're gonna go and fix it. Like, what is?" In my head, I was like, "Oh, this shows that I understand how story works, or whatever. Maybe I'm demonstrating these sort of things." And she seemed really into it. She kept asking me more. But what about this? And I was like, "Well, this is what I would have done with this sort of thing." And I'm like, "What is this meeting? Did you just have a spare half an hour?"
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many of those glass of water meetings you have. So we had, like, the primary reason was obviously this film that we're pitching, but then we also had a couple other things on our slate, like a pilot that I've written, TV series, and Jem's got another film that she's got some development funding for as well. And it was interesting, like, at what point you pull the ripcord, like, oh, this is going okay, but they're clearly not interested. Let's just direct their attention down here. And at one point, like, this guy, I think it was from it might have been the Netflix guy, because Netflix were quite honest with us. They said, look, we don't, because we're not looking for a lot of money. Like, our budget, total budget's like 2.5, maybe 3. And he said, we don't really make films for under 30 million. Like, we are not the guys to come to make your breakout film. We're the guys to talk to you about your second film. We've got lots of projects. We've got lots of IP. So, after you make your first film and it does really well, then we'd love to have a meeting with you. But then Jem was like, well, I do have this other film that I've got, and it's folk horror. And this guy, it just turns out that folk horror is his thing. Like, he loves folk horror. And he was like, I have nothing to do with Gemma's other projects. So I'm like, I mean, I have also opinions on folk horror, but suddenly, like, on the speed date, I was pushed very much to the side. I was just like, oh my, you're still talking about the other.
You got anything that doesn't involve this loser?
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty much what it was. But I've got a question for you.
Sir.
So great experience, really fun.
I mean, it sounds amazing.
It was really good.
It's really exciting, and it's invigorating to be in that community, pitching again, being in the mix of, because you just never know, right?
Yeah. So just one last thing. So the short played it was called the International Sci-Fi Showcase, and often I've been to
in a cinema.
In a cinema, yeah.
How many people in a cinema?
It was sold out, so it was probably about 200, maybe 250
Great.
people. And so often when your short film gets programmed in, like, because short films can be very hit and miss, because often they're made by people with low budgets or student filmmakers or whatever. So the cinematography might be great, but the acting's a bit ropey, or the acting's great, but it looks a bit ropey, or whatever. So
there's some reason. I mean, budget, etc. There's some reason that not all of it is going to be perfect.
That's right. But this program that we were in, so 7 films, the standard was really high. It was actually quite validating. It's like, oh, okay, we're in really good company. Obviously, like the US productions, the budgets were insane. The first film was like an excellent version, like a short film, Black Mirror. It was just this really cool concept of this. So everything was about, well, most things are about social media. Like, it seems to be big on people's minds. And how great it is, and everyone loves it. It's not a dystopian thing at all. But there was.
Did you just see that? Did you see that Chinese robot, the one that's faster than Usain Bolt and can jump like 9 meters in the air?
No.
That they've just launched. Anyway, we're going to be hunted down very soon.
Is it like a humanoid robot?
Yeah, well, humanoid in the way that the Terminator is humanoid.
But it walks on 2 legs. It's bipedal.
Yeah, and
can hold weapons.
Faster than Usain Bolt and can jump over your
just
head.
Don't give them thumbs, and then they can't hold a weapon.
Okay.
Just
that's
4
your
fingers.
Plan? No thumbs.
Yeah, no thumbs.
Simpsons
we're
style.
fine. No, they've got thumbs.
They've got thumbs.
It's just 4 fingers. They just don't have thumbs. They don't have opposable digits.
Yeah.
And that way they can't operate hold a gun or hold a firearm.
Okay, great. There you go. Charlie solved it.
It's my regulation.
No thumbs.
No thumbs. And but the
As the
downside is when they approve of something you've done, they can't give you. They can only give you the bird.
They can't give you thumbs up or thumbs down though. So
that's good. Yeah,
right.
Swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
So the Sci-Fi Showcase was really, really, a high standard, and I think one film, like that was also proof of concept. I think since the festival, I've even read that they're financed. They're going ahead. They're making a feature version of their film. But anyway, there was an awards night that we went to, and we're sitting in the audience, and I hardly ever win anything ever, and so I never expect to win. And so we went to this thing thinking, well, like, the standard was very high in our program, but we're probably not going to win. And we sat there, and they brought out their judging panel, and they're handing out their awards, and they do a bit of a preamble about why they're giving an award to this film. And they get to our category.
Yeah.
And they start describing our film, like the emotional impact and the unique location.
Okay, so you like, as in, like, but they haven't named.
They haven't named the film
yet. But you're
so
like,
Gemma and
hang
I
on.
sitting there, and we're like elbowing each
Feels
other.
like us.
Yeah,
They're mentioning our
because they're
film.
naming, like, without naming it, all these specific details of our short film. And then, like, I'm getting ready, like Michael Keaton when he was nominated for Birdman. I'm getting my speech out, ready to, and then they announce this other film. And I'm sitting there, and I see the filmmakers, and this is the film that's since been funded. They get up and receive their award. And then afterwards, I see them go up and congratulate them in the foyer, and they're like, the way they were describing that, I thought they were talking about your film. And I was like, oh, really? I didn't.
It didn't occur to me.
didn't occur
I
to-
always thought it was going to be your
It didn't
film. I
occur to
definitely
me.
wasn't getting my speech out of my pocket.
But what I want to pitch to you,
Yes.
right? So all these films made by these new horror filmmakers are very meta in the sense that, like I said, they're all set in video stores. They're all very self-aware of horror. And I was like, is it time to do another layer of meta-ness? So at the moment, you have a lot of queer filmmakers reclaiming horror through the lens of their own experience, right? That's where the meta level is at now.
Yes.
Is it too soon to make a horror film about a straight white middle-aged guy who's at a horror film festival where he notices that all the films are being made by the queer community, and he wants to make a film about that? But then it's not like a murder, a slasher, or there's some kind of slasher occurs at the festival. Can you get that meta? Is it too soon for that?
Yes. Is it too soon for a white middle-aged
like,
straight
to
man
reclaim
to go,
horror?
You know what? Enough of this. It's great. You had your moment. Yeah, I reckon it's a little too soon.
People aren't going to be up for that.
I mean, I think there'd be an audience that is up for that. I'm just not sure it's the audience that you want to go to.
But you're not erasing it, but you are just making the observation that this is where, because that's what they're doing, is like, these were the trends of horror films in the 80s and 90s.
What if the white straight guys are being murdered at this festival?
Yeah.
But it is another white straight guy who's doing it to kind of, like, he's framing the queer community, basically.
Yeah.
Like, so it seems as if these queer...
How about this?
Yeah.
So you've got a legendary director like a Wes Craven type, Sean Cunningham, someone who made like the Friday the 13th films, right?
Who can we afford?
Who's at the festival, right?
That's right.
And then you've got these new breed of queer filmmakers.
Is Wes Craven still alive?
No.
Yeah.
No, he don't.
It's going to be tough to get Wes then.
I've been having some strange dreams where he's appearing to me, though. He's got knives in his fingers.
Who is a good, who is
Sam
an iconic
Raimi,
one that's still alive?
Sam Raimi. Evil
Dead. Okay.
Sam
Raimi's at the festival.
And he's a Fantasia alumni. So Sam Raimi's at the festival, and that's meta. He plays himself. Right?
Perfect. This is a good start, actually.
Yeah. And so your lead character can be like a middle-aged straight white guy. Yeah. He loves horror, but has felt like, oh, well, the movement's passed me by because it's now been. So then you also have like a director from the queer community who's there premiering their latest, film there. But then middle-aged white guys start getting murdered. And this aspiring filmmaker, he's trying to solve, but he's bouncing between Sam Raimi, who made films in the 80s, and the new director from the queer community is there. Is it too soon to make that observation that, hey, horror used to be this, now it's this, and now I'm interpreting it? Or do you have to have a third point of view that is underrepresented?
Dogs.
What
do dogs think?
It's a vet. A vet is coming around cutting off balls, spading female dogs.
I think there's something in that.
Yeah.
Like, I think there is something in...
The hard thing with meta, like Scream did it well, Camp Miasma did it well. The hard thing with doing meta horror is how do you keep it feeling suspenseful and scary when you are saying to the audience, hey, this is what's going on and these are the tropes that you're familiar with. I mean, it doesn't have to be scary, but it has to be entertaining.
No, it has to be entertaining, yes.
So you've got to make these observations, but in a way that you're not just pointing out this is how the sausage is made, but you're making a comment. Because the comment would be, for instance, if you were doing the protagonist as a middle-aged white guy, he feels like, oh, disgruntled, like my chance to make an impact in this genre has passed me by.
Well, the problem would be that
the culture's moved beyond me.
I feel like it would just be, it's not that you couldn't make something like that. It's that these times couldn't accept something like that without it becoming such a political
but if we include this commentary in it, does that make it work? You know what I mean? Like, not that the person, we're not sympathizing or justifying. We're just making that observation, because I agree with you. The culture has moved beyond that. So maybe he's the wrong character to be the protagonist.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, I don't know, a film student, a queer film student who's trying to get into the industry, but actually loves the old 80s horror films, but feels conflicted about wants to go back to making a film like that, but feels conflicted because the culture's moved on.
I do think that meta often works best if it comes from the point of view, not always, but if it comes from the point of view of somebody who wasn't traditionally represented in the genre, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that white straight men, there's enough of you are watching it because you are at the forefront of seeing the change in the industry. But for the broader society, I don't think there is that idea of like, oh, all horror's like queer meta stuff now, right? Like, I don't think that's what people think about when I think you would need more of that in the zeitgeist before you could go, here's something that I could make as a meta observation, because it works much better when it's
too niche at the moment, the observation. Yeah, okay.
Because even in the Scream movies, there is that sort of meta. It is the nerdy, like, again, video store guys, the ones who know all about the idea of this is how these horror movies work. These are the rules of the horror movies. It's still done from this idea of it's the nerds who have worked it out sort of thing, not the cool guy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, and I guess that's always a safe, well, not a safe option, but it's in terms of just like getting the audience on side, the underdog, either being a film nerd or someone who's marginalized. That is the best way to create an entry point for the audience.
What about like
I mean, having said all this, I couldn't make that film, by the way. No one wants to hear that point of view. But I'm just wondering if you could do something meta, if you could meta the meta. Do you know what I mean?
Well, what about if you meted meta? I mean, Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg.
There's a guy trying to kill billionaires, like a Louis, like Mangione style.
Yeah,
but
Luigi.
Like, Luigi, sorry. Oh, I call him Louis. We're close.
You've been sending those love letters. You're one of the people sending the love letters to Luigi Mangione.
Mail just started arriving at my place. He started writing to me first. Right. I don't even know he worked out where I live.
I saw you at Just for Laughs 3 years ago. I thought you were great.
Yeah, we're watching a lot of clips here in prison.
Considered punishment.
We've been watching Gruen as punishment. Gruen and Gruel. That's the new system we have here. So, yeah, maybe because the white straight men that you could sort of go like in that meta context are the billionaire class, right? Mm-hmm. And we have that real life thing that you could leverage off in a way. I don't know how you. There's that big event that they all have at Davos. You know, where all the richest people in the world come together. Yeah. So this is a festival, right? Yeah. But this is a festival of rich people and greed and people who you could maybe have some sense of, I don't know, whether you do it Parasite style where it's like somebody's working at the event or somebody who goes in undercover or somebody who is like...
That's actually a really good idea.
Like this is more your festival, but it's a festival of people that you could target and make a point as a...
Totally. That's a great idea. In fact, I'm writing it down. Yeah. Copyright Charlie Clausen. Hey, we should wrap it up. Hey, if you want to support the show, go to our Patreon. You can sign up. You get early episodes. You get ad-free episodes. You get access to an entire trove of archive material as well. Plus, if you're a footy fan, on Thursday, I do a Teams and Tips live stream. Friday, I do just a regular chat live stream. So if you want to come on and talk horror films, you can. Do you have any stand-up shows coming up?
No, I don't. In fact, I'm taking a big break from live performance while I work on some health stuff. And what I am going to try to do in that time, because I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the show, but I'm off social media, Charlie.
Oh, yeah, right.
But what I am trying to do in return so that people will be able to know about what I'm doing in the future is build up my mailing list. So if you go to comedy.com.au and just click on my image there, there'll be a link to join my mailing list. I will not send you a whole bunch of stuff. It'll only be for when my new projects are coming up. But I will, if people want to join up to my mailing list, that would be fantastic.
We also have a Everyone Relax mailing list. The link will be in the show notes. If you want to sign up to our newsletter and be updated on new episodes as they come out, you can. But we'll be back again next week. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson.
I'm a fucking human being.